All right, welcome in everybody to In the Paint Altitude Sports Radio 92.5. I'm your host, Dan Tanner, reacting to Nuggets and Rockets. We have an instant classic unfolding at Ball Arena right now. Wanted to go live here while the game is still going on. So there's 2.3 seconds left to go. The Rockets are up by 117 to 116. The Nuggets were inbounding the ball. Tim Hardaway Jr. got shoved to the floor. They call the foul. Now Houston is challenging the call. If they don't win the challenge, if Houston does not win this challenge, the Nuggets get free throws with 2.3 seconds left to potentially tie and or win the game. So we will just kind of follow along here and see the conclusion of this game. But what an awesome basketball game at Ball Arena tonight. These two teams are so good. The Nuggets are trying to end a 4-game losing streak at home. So we'll see if they can do that. I don't know how they overturn this call. It looked like a foul to me. In fact, let's get the refs here.
After review, the left shin of Thompson makes illegal contact to the right leg.
All right, so Tim Hardaway is going to get 2 free throws. Okay. Whew. Man, I hope we don't get to overtime. What a game between the Nuggets and the Rockets. Like I said, the Nuggets are trying to end a 4-game losing streak at home. Yeah, they're showing the replay there. The left shin of Amen Thompson hits the back heel of Hardaway, causing him to go to the floor. So the foul will stand. And, are they calling a technical here? Because Jamal Murray's at the free throw line. I did not see what happened here on that play. So Jamal Murray just ties it up. There had to have been a technical on that play. Okay. Wow. So tie ball game, 117, 2.3 seconds to go. Okay, so they're not going to give Hardaway free throws. They are going to inbound the basketball. So the Nuggets can win it here. Jamal's going to inbound it. Gets it to Joker. He'll heave it up from 3. Oh, and it's off the back of the rim. Well, we're going to overtime, everybody. My goodness. I've got to get an explanation on why Murray got a free throw there and why Hardaway didn't get to the line. I'm sure they explained it on the broadcast, but I have the sound down. So, wow. Okay. So we'll watch along during the overtime period, and we'll go through the game and tell you what happened. Just as we wait for the overtime period to start, just some thoughts on this game. First of all, these two teams, this looks like a budding rivalry between the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. Obviously, Nikola Jokic and Alperen Şengün have just been, this was an epic duel of big men tonight at Ball Arena. Absolute instant classic. Şengün has gotten the nickname Baby Jokic around the league. He's one of my favorite younger big men. I've been saying this for a couple of years now. I really love Alperen Şengün. I think his game is somewhat similar to Nikola Jokic, but he's not Nikola Jokic. This has the feel of a possible budding rivalry because this was a very chippy game. We saw Ime Udoka get teed up at the end of the second quarter along with Alperen Şengün. It's been a very physical, contentious, testy game. Jonas Valanciunas fouled out with about 9 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Very, very physical game between the Rockets and the Nuggets down at Ball Arena tonight. This, boy, I can't wait for Saturday. So the Nuggets will play the Magic on Thursday, and then they're going to play the Rockets again on Saturday at Ball Arena. So I'll be interested to see how much of this game carries over to Saturday. And what an epic playoff matchup this would be between these two teams. Really, really good teams. I think it's pretty obvious after OKC, who's clearly right now the best team in the Western Conference, best team in the NBA. These are the next 2 best teams in the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets and the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are actually 16-6 on the season. The Nuggets are 18-6. They're looking to improve on a franchise best start to a season at 18-6. And like I said, end a 4-game home losing streak, which for the Nuggets is unheard of. I'm honestly shocked even saying that. They're 11-2 on the road, though, so that's why they've been able to get off to such a good start. They're 11-2 on the road. They're 6-4 at home. And wow, this is going to be an epic overtime. They're showing Nikola and Şengün getting ready to go. Epic battle between these two bigs. Yeah, this would be a phenomenal playoff series. I know that's a ways down the road, but you can't help but think about that. But what a fantastic game. Just like I said, this is turning into an instant classic down at Ball Arena between the Nuggets and the Rockets. So we will just watch along here until the conclusion of this basketball game. And there's the tip. And Rockets ball. While we kind of go through the OT, I did want to mention Peyton Watson did limp off the floor. A right trunk contusion. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to look up what a right trunk contusion is, but we have not seen P. Watt since the first half of this game. Okay, and the Rockets get a foul. You know, something that really was hurting the Nuggets tonight, especially after Peyton Watson went out, man, this Houston team is big and long and physical. In fact, to the point where we saw Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic playing on the court together, both in the first half and the second half, to try to deal with the size of the Houston Rockets. That, you know, it's a game like this that really shows you how much they're missing the length and athleticism of Peyton Watson, CB, and Aaron Gordon on the defensive end. The Nuggets had some spurts of issues guarding the Rockets tonight. And Jamal Murray just strains a bucket to put the Nuggets up by 2 with just over 4 minutes to go in the overtime period. What a game. What a classic. And Kevin Durant misses. Joker's got the rebound. Off to a good start here in the overtime. Man, the Nuggets got to score quick here in the OT to build some momentum. And Jamal just gets another layup. So 4 points from Jamal Murray here to start the overtime period. Good, really good start. Both drives to the basket for Jamal and good defense on the Rockets' 2 possessions. All right, so Nuggets up by 4. Jamal's got 33 points on 9 of 15 shooting. Man, he's off to a great start. Okay, here's KD. Under 3.5 minutes to go here. Şengün is just bullying Cam Johnson. He missed it again. Joker's got the rebound. 3 straight stops. Oh, and then, okay, they fouled Jokic. I was like, you got to call that. Man, Şengün he was crying like a little baby tonight. He really was. I mean, he was complaining to the refs nonstop. He was even complaining when he did get a foul call. He was still complaining. All right, if the Nuggets can score here, they'll start the overtime period on a 6-0 run with under 3 minutes left to go. That's a really good sign. Jamal's got it again. Here's a 3 from Spencer Jones in the corner, drains it. All right, 7-0 run to start the overtime. Nuggets up 124-117, 2:50 to go. They're 3 for 3 in the overtime period. Houston's 0 of 3. See if they can get another stop here. Şengün, nice drive to the basket. He scores. I apologize if you're watching on your television. I'm watching on the Altitude Plus app, and the stream is a little bit behind on the TV. So I apologize if I'm behind where you're at watching the game right now. All right, Nuggets looking to score here. They're up by 5, under 2.5 minutes to go. Jamal's got it. 2-man game, long 3, short. And the Rockets have it. Whew. All right, 5-point game. A stop would be nice here. And the Rockets get a little 7-foot turnaround jumper. I didn't even see who that was that scored that. All right, 3-point game, 124-121, a minute 50 left. Jamal's got the ball. Nuggets looking to score here. Joker's trying to back down Şengün, spin move. Oh, and he's fouled. All right. Okay. What a game. What a freaking game. This is fantastic basketball. Both teams had some time off. This is only, the Nuggets have only played 2 games in the last week. So very rested, both teams coming in. Joker makes the first free throw. So they're up by 4 with 1:40 left. See if he can put them up by 5. Şengün's and Jokic both have 5 fouls, by the way. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. Jabari Smith's got 4 and Spencer Jones has 4. There's your foul trouble update. Second free throw for Nikola Jokic. Got them both. Joker missed some big free throws in the second half, so it was good to see him hit both of those there. Okay, so the Nuggets have a 5-point lead. There's 1.5 minutes to go. 39 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists for Nikola Jokic. Whew. And we've got a stoppage and a foul, I believe. As always, feel free to comment along. I want to get your thoughts on the game. We'll see if we can get David Adelman once he gets posted, but lots to get into in this game. This was an absolute instant classic, like I said. Okay, Rockets trying to score here. See if they can get a stop. And they foul. So the Rockets will get free throws here. .126, 121, 1:23 left. And the Rockets will go to the line for 2. I believe that was Reed Shepherd. Let me confirm that. Yeah, it's Reed Shepherd going to the line. Good free throw shooter. And it looks like, Denver called a timeout. So we got a minute or so here. All right, like I said, thoughts on the game. Feel free to comment along as we watch the end of this one. Oh, are the Nuggets challenging? Let's see. Okay, so they're going to challenge that foul call. Ooh, if this was on Joker, he's fouled out too. Wow. Okay. Yeah, you got to challenge this here, don't you? Can't have Joker going out. Now, look, they're up by 5 with less than 1.5 minutes to go, but if they hit both free throws, I mean, let's see what see if we can get you the call here. Refs are talking about it. Here's the call.
After review, there was clear and conclusive illegal contact by Jokic to the forearm of the shooter. The challenge is unsuccessful.
Okay, so Joker's out. So no Val, no Jokic for the remainder of this basketball game. Whew. Man, if this thing goes to double OT, that will not be good for the Nuggets with no Jokic and no Val. They were already struggling with Houston's length throughout this game, especially on the defensive end. So, I like the challenge from Adelman, though. You got to try and roll the dice there to keep Joker in the game. Jokic had to come back into the game in the fourth at the 9-minute and 19-second mark because, like I said, that's when Jonas Valanciunas fouled out. So he has played a lot of basketball tonight. He did get a very long rest in the second quarter. That helps. But a lot of basketball tonight for Nikola Jokic. The good news is they have 2 days off coming up after this. So Reed Shepherd hits the first. It's now a 4-point game. Man. And he missed the second, but they called a foul. Oh, my goodness. So on the rebound, who'd they call a foul on? Spencer Jones? Oh, so Houston gets the ball back. So he missed the second free throw, and they called a foul on Spencer Jones. Wow. All right, Houston's ball. They're trying to make it a 1-point game, 1 or 2-point game, and they miss the shot. Nuggets have the ball. Jamal's bringing it up. This is where, Jamal Murray's got to earn his paycheck here. No Jokic, no Valanciunas. They're double teaming him. Smart by Houston to double team Jamal Murray in this scenario. And tipped into the backcourt. Are they going to call a foul here on Thompson? Oh my gosh. Ime Udoka has been red hot this entire game. I cannot believe he's not been thrown out of this game. He easily could have been thrown out in the second quarter. He was screaming at the refs, running out onto the court. Yeah, so Jamal's going to go to the free throw line. Boy, if he hits both of these, that'll put the Nuggets up 128-122. That with 47 seconds left. That's okay, he hits the first. If he can hit this, it's going to make it a very difficult comeback for the Houston Rockets. Here comes free throw number 2. Drains them both. All right, 128-122, 45 seconds to go. Houston's racing up the court. Nice pressure on ball defense by the Nuggets here. Wasting some clock. Şengün, he gets the bucket and one. Eesh. This game has been wild. Absolutely wild. Really good games from Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray tonight. They were both fantastic. Nuggets struggled on defense, like I said, at various points throughout this game, but doesn't help when Val and Jokic are out. Okay, so it's a 3-point game with 35 seconds to go. Jamal's got it. You don't want to foul here if you're Houston. And Jamal's being smart. He's just going to take this thing all the way down. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Jamal's just going to turn around jumper short. And Houston gets the rebound. There's 12 seconds left. KD's got the ball. 3 will send it to double overtime. And I believe the Nuggets had a foul to... Nope, Houston called timeout. All right, so there's 6.8 seconds left. Houston has a chance to tie it with a 3-pointer. In just an incredible game tonight down at Ball Arena. Wow. Let's take a look at the numbers here real quick while we wait this timeout on this basketball game. So the Nuggets bench actually played really well tonight. I thought they played fantastic. Val had 8 points in 14 minutes. Tim Hardaway's played 39 minutes. He obviously had to play more because he started the second half when after Peyton Watson got hurt in the first half. He's got 13 points tonight on 4 of 10 shooting, and Bruce Brown just 2 points. But Val and Tim Hardaway were really good off the bench for the Nuggets tonight. All right. It's nut crunching time, Nuggets fans. Here we go. Do not foul. You cannot foul the shooter. It's the only thing you can't do here is foul the shooter on a 3-point attempt. You know, if the Nuggets have a foul to give, they might foul here. I think both teams are in the bonus, so never mind. All right, here we go. Here's the final play. Houston inbounds. Is that Şengün? Turnaround. Missed it. Bruce Brown has it, and he's going to dribble it out. And the Nuggets get the 128-125 overtime win. Instant classic of Ball Arena. They end their 4-game home losing streak and beat the Rockets for the second time this year. They're now 2-0 against the Houston Rockets. That's very important because that could be a possible tiebreaker down the stretch for playoff seeding between these two teams. What a game here for the Nuggets tonight. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't foul Bruce Brown. I believe that was Şengün that took that last 3. He missed it bad, too. All right, folks. Give me your thoughts. What a win for the Nuggets tonight down at Ball Arena. 128-125 is your final. The Nuggets eke out a win over the Houston Rockets in their 4-game home losing streak. Whew. All right, lots to get into in this one. Like I said, feel free to comment along. I want to get your thoughts on this instant classic at Ball Arena tonight between the Nuggets and the Rockets. The first half, both teams started shooting 3 of 4 from the field. Both teams got off to a good start shooting, but this game just had a weird flow to it. Like neither team could really get into a consistent offensive rhythm, consistent offensive flow in any quarter in this game. It was a very up and down game, tons of lead changes in this one. Like I said, the Nuggets defense was pretty bad in stretches tonight. I think the length of the Houston Rockets was very difficult to defend for the Nuggets, just with all their personnel that's out. Peyton Watson, especially when he went out. Obviously, no Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown. That hurts this team defensively as well. I mean, those are your 3 best defenders that are now out. So hopefully it's not a long-term situation for Peyton Watson, because that is going to be very difficult to overcome defensively for this Denver Nuggets team already without Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown. But there was a stretch in the first quarter where the Rockets scored on 6 out of 7 possessions. I mean, the Nuggets just couldn't get a stop. They seemed to get a little better in that area as the game went along. But there was just, like I said, spurts tonight where they really struggled defensively. We saw Val and Nikola Jokic playing together in the first quarter and in the third quarter. Again, I think that was because of the length of the Houston Rockets. I believe we saw that in their first game in Houston as well. And I thought it was just okay. Every time we've seen that so far this year, it hasn't been great. It hasn't been terrible. It's just been so-so. But I do like the fact that David Adelman is experimenting with Nikola Jokic and Jonas Valanciunas on the court at the same time, because they might have to use that lineup in a possible playoff scenario, whether it's the Thunder or the Rockets or a litany of other teams in the Western Conference that they could potentially face. So I'm glad that he's still at least trying that out and trying to get some chemistry going between the 2 big fellas on the court together at the same time. So the Rockets, they shot 55% from the field in the first quarter and had a 30-24 lead at the end of one. Interesting situation with Cam Johnson and Jamal Murray tonight. Now, this was actually in the third quarter, I believe. No, the fourth quarter, excuse me. So in the second quarter, Cam Johnson staggers with the second unit, like we've been seeing for quite a while. And then Jamal Murray comes in and replaces him, and he staggers with the second unit. And I thought that to start that second quarter, the Nuggets actually swung the momentum back in their favor in this game. So that was a dynamic we haven't really seen a whole lot this year, where it's Cam in with the second, Adelman takes him out, and then Jamal comes in, and he plays a couple of minutes with the second unit as well. And I thought both of those lineups actually did pretty well in that second quarter. Val was super aggressive in the second. He shot 4 of 4 from the field in that second quarter for 8 points. And God, the Nuggets bench just looks so much better when they are running the offense through Jonas Valanciunas. It just looks like a much more competent, well-flowing offense. And that's what I thought they did there in the second quarter. And then the Nuggets go on a 17-6 run to end the second quarter. They actually led by 7 going into the half, 58-51. Then the Rockets come out and just were sniping shots all over the floor to start the third. They started that third shooting 8 for 10 from the field. That third quarter is really where you could start to notice that the Nuggets were struggling dealing with the Rockets' big lineup. Again, this is where the Nuggets desperately miss Peyton Watson and Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown. They just need more length on the defensive end, especially against a team like the Houston Rockets that can just throw out massive lineups. I mean, you got Şengün out there, Kevin Durant, Steven Adams. They are a massive basketball team. And then that's where we saw Nikola Jokic and Val play on the court together again in the third. So we saw it twice in this game. I think that's the first time this year where we've seen Joker and Val play on the floor together at the same time 2 separate times in a game. We've seen it happen once at various points throughout other games in the regular season, but I believe this is the first time we've seen him do that twice. And I think it was the right move from Adelman because they just had no answers for the length of the Houston Rockets when, especially with Peyton Watson going out tonight. And then Nikola Jokic just took over in that third quarter. He scored or assisted on the Nuggets' last 17 of their last 19 points to end the third. And if you remember, that last bucket was a steal from Bruce Brown where he went coast to coast and laid it in as the third quarter was ending. So Jokic scored or assisted on 17 of the Nuggets' final 19 points of that third quarter to really get them back in this game after Houston made their run to start the third quarter. And then the Nuggets led 89-86 going into the third. Now, what was interesting with the Cam Johnson and Jamal Murray stagger in the second unit got even more interesting in the fourth because Cam and Jamal Murray staggered with the second unit to start the fourth quarter. We haven't seen that a whole lot this year. Thought it worked pretty well. I'll be curious to see if David Adelman goes back to it, but that was an epic game. I mean, absolutely crazy basketball game tonight down at Ball Arena. All right. Yeah, like I said, feel free to comment along. I want to get your thoughts on the game tonight. Were you at the game? I would love to get your comments in there. All right, let's get to some of these comments here. Let's see. EJ says, what kittens to just walk off the court without dapping up the other team? Oh, did Houston do that? I did not see that. Tough loss. We've seen it before. JK, what a win. Yeah, that was an epic game. Kev says, hey, DT, awesome win tonight. Appreciate you listening, Kev. Let's see here. Yeah, Jabari Smith Jr. is a nice player. I've really liked Jabari Smith. Look, I've been a fan of what the Rockets have been doing for a couple of years now. I mean, they've been an up-and-coming basketball team. I said this about 2 years ago. I thought they were a year or two away from really competing in the West, and here we are. Now they trade Jalen Green to the Phoenix Suns. They get Kevin Durant. Boy, Kevin Durant, he still is just – he's so damn good at basketball still to this day. The guy can shoot over anybody. He's still silky smooth. He was really good tonight for Houston. So this was with him going and Şengün going. This is a really good win for the Denver Nuggets. Let's see here. Fentanyl Jones. I love Houston. If we weren't us, I'd really be pulling for him. Yeah, they kind of like they have some similarities to the Nuggets, to the earlier Jokic Nuggets with Alpi Şengün and just the kind of the way they're built. Jabari Smith is kind of like their Aaron Gordon, I guess. But yeah, I've been a big fan of what the Houston Rockets have done over the last couple years, and they are a very good basketball team. Like I said earlier, if you missed it, man, would this be a really fun playoff series between the Rockets and the Nuggets? It was very chippy tonight, very physical game. We saw Jonas Valanciunas and Nikola Jokic foul out of this game. Now, granted, Jokic fouled out in overtime. A lot of fouls in this game. They play again on Saturday. I can't wait for that game. I mean, how much of the chippiness from tonight's game is going to carry over? We saw Kevin Durant and Nikola Jokic get into it a little bit in the fourth, where KD actually got a technical on that. You know, Houston, they made some dumb decisions tonight with their technical fouls. Ime Udoka and Alperen Şengün both get technicals in the second quarter. KD gets a technical, shoving Nikola Jokic in the face in the fourth. If they don't have those technicals, the Nuggets probably don't win this game. So that's a sign of a young basketball team that is still trying to figure out how to win, especially in big games against really good teams. They still have to figure that out. Whereas the Nuggets have been doing this for years and years and years now, and they know exactly what to do. All right, let's see here. Still worry about Cam. Well, I'd be curious, like what specifically are you worried about with Cam Johnson? Because I think Cam Johnson has been fantastic since he's come back from his bicep injury. He just wasn't very aggressive tonight. Like, you didn't really feel Cam Johnson's presence a whole lot on the court, at least on the offensive end. I actually thought he was really good defensively for the most part in this game, but he was 5 of 9 shooting from the field, 13 points, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and he was a +9. I thought Cam Johnson played fine tonight. You would like to see a little bit more offensively out of Cam Johnson. I will give you that. But in a game like tonight, I thought Cam was their best defensive player throughout the course of the game. So I got no issues with Cam Johnson. Let's see here. We lose Peyton Watson and we still get the W. True grit from this team. Like I said, this is a Nuggets team that just knows how to win games like this. They've been there, done that. And the Houston Rockets are trying to figure that out. That was a classic example of the veteran championship tested team knowing how to close out basketball games from a young up and coming team that has not been there and done that yet. That's what this game felt like to me tonight. What happened to Watson? Well, on the broadcast, they reported as a right trunk contusion. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it has something to do with like the right hip or upper leg area. But other than that, I don't know what that means. Hopefully it's not a serious injury for Peyton Watson. That would be a devastating blow for the Nuggets defensively because, like I said, without Aaron Gordon and Christian Braun, your two best defensive players, Peyton Watson is your best defensive player with those two guys out. So if he goes out, that's your top 3 defensive players that are possibly going to miss significant time. That would be a massive blow for the Nuggets. So hopefully everything's okay with Peyton Watson. But that was, he limped off the court, asked to be taken out right away, and he walked right back into the locker room. It's never a good sign. So we'll see what happens with Peyton Watson. The good news for the Nuggets, though, like I said, good. This is why you build depth, everybody. This is why GMs get paid what they do, to build depth on this team. If this was last year's team, they would have a shot in hell of competing right now, in my opinion, because they had so little depth last year. I mean, Peyton Watson can't go in the second half. Who do you start in place of him? Tim Hardaway Jr. Pretty good option to replace Peyton Watson with. They didn't have that option last year. So I know they're hurting right now, but the good news is Joker and Jamal, I'm knocking on wood here, they're both healthy and playing at MVP type levels. And as long as they're doing that, this team, with the depth they've added, will still have a chance to be very, very competitive until they can get relatively healthy in the next couple of weeks. I mean, Julian Strawther, haven't talked about him yet. He was cleared to go tonight. He didn't get into the game, but he's back. So that's one of the 3 that have been out for a while that's back. So slowly but surely the Nuggets are starting to get a little healthier. And, the timeline for AG and Christian Braun was right around Christmas, right around the end of December, maybe early January. And it's December 15th. So hopefully just a couple more weeks, they can start getting some of these guys back. I'm enjoying this win. What a game. Yeah, this was a instant classic at Ball Arena tonight. Just the entire game this was an epic game. Very fun basketball game to watch. Really, really good. Let's see here. EJ, WTF was KD doing trying to win Defensive Player of the Year in one game? Yeah, they were getting testy. Like I said, I am shocked Ime Udoka was not thrown out of this game in the second quarter. If you didn't see it, Şengün gets a technical because he thought he got fouled by Nikola Jokic. Udoka is screaming at the referees, literally to the point where he's running out on the court, having to be held back by his assistant coaches. And they didn't tee him up again. I couldn't believe they didn't tee him up again because he got a technical, kept running out onto the court while being held back, screaming at all the 3 of the officials, and they did not tee him up again. That was very surprising to see him not get thrown out of that basketball game. At one point, he was walking so far out onto the court, I thought they had tossed him because it looked like he was walking back to the locker room. No, he was just going out there to yell at the referees. I mean, everybody on the bench was screaming at the refs. Like, this got a very, very contentious. Man, like I said, this would be an epic playoff series. Both of these teams are really, really good. They're similar in style and nature, and similar players, similar type rosters. I think the Nuggets would have the advantage just based off experience, and I do think their roster is a little bit better than the Rockets. I think they're a little bit deeper. I like the Nuggets bench more than I like the Rockets, but this would be most likely this would be a second round type matchup. What a second round matchup that would be. And if the Nuggets get home court, that would give them a little added bonus as well. And by the way, really good to see them in their 4-game home losing streak. They cannot do that again this year. You cannot have another 4-game. Hell, I would go as far as to say you can't have back-to-back losses at home, consecutive losses at home for the remainder of the season if you want to have any shot of finishing with the 2 seed, clearing the 2 seed, where there's a big gap between the 2 and the 3. I just don't think it's going to be possible for anybody in the West this year to catch the Thunder. Now, granted, they did lose the other night. They're only 24-2 on the season now. But hey, Wemby and the Spurs beat them. They're going to the in-season tournament final to take on the New York Knicks, which I couldn't care less about, the NBA Cup. If my loyal listeners, you all know how I feel about that tournament. No added incentives for the fans. So, okay. And I'm glad the Nuggets didn't make it because I'd rather them get more rest. That's how I feel about that. All right. Before we get to David Adelman here, I want to try and get to some more of your comments. Yeah, Katie got tired. That was something I definitely was thinking about when we got late in the fourth quarter and into overtime. It's like this is where the Nuggets, really any team in Denver, really has the advantage. You can do a game like this. I don't care how much rest the Rockets had coming into tonight. And the Nuggets had a lot of rest too. This was a game where it's like, there's no way the Rockets are going to be able to keep up with the Nuggets, even with Jokic and Val fouling out in an overtime game in Denver. And it looked like they started to get winded. I mean, shoot, look at the Broncos-Packers game yesterday. Sean Payton talked about this. He said he could tell late in that game they were getting gassed. And so they started going up tempo. That happens to visiting teams in the Mile High City. It's a true advantage that our teams have. And to their credit, they've been using it. Ooh. Mac cleaning. I hope we avoid them in the playoffs. Oh, man, I don't. I'm the kind of fan media member that I want them to play the best, and I want them to play the most entertaining series possible. And my God, would the Rockets Nuggets most likely in the second round be an entertaining game? And I'm telling you, this feels like the start of a little bit of a budding rivalry between these two teams. And obviously, if they meet in the playoffs, that's only going to exacerbate that. But man, I would love to see a Rockets Nuggets playoff matchup. Let's see. EJ, he was trying to get thrown out. I'm assuming you're talking about Ime Udoka. Yeah, it certainly looked like he was trying to get thrown out, and the refs just weren't going to do it. I mean, I've seen NBA coaches act far less egregious than that hundreds of times and get tossed out of basketball games. I think that was just a thing where the refs decided, like, you want to get thrown out? No, we're not going to throw you out. Go sit back down on the bench. Keep screaming. We're not going to throw you out. And boy, every time they showed him Ime Udoka a close-up, he just looked super pissed off the rest of the game. Every single time he was looking unbelievably annoyed by the referees. So yeah, I honestly cannot believe that they didn't toss him. Şengün, I mean, he was going at it too, even after he got teed up. So that was surprising as well. All right, we do have David Adelman. Let's go ahead and listen to what the coach has to say about this instant classic between the Nuggets and Rockets, where the Nuggets win in overtime to improve to 19-6 on the season. Here is the head coach.
possession, kind of a unique situation without any centers. I assume that factors into the decision not to foul up 3 and just kind of play out that possession.
Yeah, we tried to foul up 3 in the overtime. Shangoon got loose. Bruce, we were trying to connect everybody 1 through 5, foul on the catch. I had a timeout to advance it, but he got loose. To their point, I thought they did a good job. He slipped out of their action. We took KD away, which was the whole point of it, and we wanted them to catch the ball with their back to the basket. Bruce was smart though. Once he faced up to the rim, now all bets are off, and you can just try to contest, but you can't foul in that situation. So we're going to keep working on it. It's been a unique situation for us. You know, the Steph one, the first game of the year, was just a screw up and a switch, and this one is just being more physical when we switch 1 through 4, 1 through 5, whatever who's in the game. On the flip side of all that, you're telling guys to foul, and they just did at the end of regulation, and we tied the game. So these situations are not perfect by any means. But we'll keep working on it. There's going to be times in the season that we have to foul, and I'll be honest, man. There's so many layers to it. Okay, so you foul and you execute it. I think we could block them out on a free throw. I mean, there's so many things you think about. Adams comes back in the game. It's Shangoon and Adams you're trying to block out with no Nicola, no Valanciunas. So a lot of the decisions we made, there was a lot of, but this could not work out also. So I was really proud of the guys. They just did what they had to do. And we're going to keep working on the situational basketball as best we can defensively.
You guys finished the game without a center. There were multiple times I saw you guys calling plays, and guys didn't really know where they were because they were playing all out of position.
Right.
What does it say about your guys' just mental fortitude to just fight through that tonight? Because that looked really tough out there.
It did, and I think we were trying very hard to get the matchup that we could get when you're playing that small. We did a great job when Yoke was still in of finding the matchup, playing the pick and roll, and just finding the right play. Found the pocket. Our spacing was much better towards the end, the flat spacing that led to Spencer's 3. We got really good looks once we really opened the court up for our 2 guys. So there was a ton of positives and then a ton of film to watch so we can work on in the case that Valanciunas and Jokic foul out of a game in that game. So it's something we'll have to talk about though, because it could happen. You know what I mean? So it was a really great effort by our guys out there, man. They just made enough plays to win the game. It's a really, really good team.
Spencer Jones, a couple of big threes late and a couple of great possessions defensively on Thompson. You've been a believer of his from the jump. I'm just curious what you saw from your 2-way guy tonight.
Yeah, it's the same thing he always was, which is the defense that he brings, the intensity on the rebound. It's just the growth and confidence to shoot the ball when he's open. And that's been something we've been preaching to the whole team. Honestly, since the playoffs ended last year, is for us to succeed as a team, then everybody's got to be a part of it. And it can't be Jokic shooting a fadeaway all the time or Jamal going 1-on-4 because he has nowhere else to go. If we execute correctly and we find you and that's the best shot possible, we trust you to shoot it. We trust you to make it. So it's good to see Spence do that. In a game, man, by the way, where he's chasing Durant around, going through pick and rolls, to your point, guarding Thompson, walling up at the rim. We had him on Shangoon. I mean, it's a lot of responsibility, man, for a guy that was on a 2-way contract, or is on a 2-way contract. And then on top of all that, he makes a 3 in the biggest part of the game. So nothing but positive things to say about Spence.
What can you say about that big loss?
Well, a lot of discomfort. It was bone on bone. It's one of those things where I think it could be totally fine tomorrow. But it hurt him. I mean, it was one of those like stingers that he just couldn't get himself, warmed up again. And Pate's a tough kid. So when he called for the sub and fouled, you knew it wasn't good. But nothing long term as far as I understand. Just probably a bone bruise. Sometimes those can be really painful. So yeah, it sucked to lose Pate. And it made Spence actually have Spence played so many minutes because he had to stay with Durant's minutes. So team effort. When Peyton goes down, somebody else steps up.
You kind of touched on it there, but that injury happened midway through the first quarter. How much did you guys kind of have to adjust your defensive game plan on the fly?
Yeah, not only the game plan, but the rotation itself. It's sometimes as people go out, we already have people out. You can't just run those guys into the ground. And so you almost have to recreate the rotation you went into the game with. And so we were pulling guys in and out and all those things. And yet it changed us defensively. I thought it got Shangoon going a little bit because we had to put different matchups on different people. He got into space and scored. But I give our guys so much credit. I mean, we were doubling a lot. We're flying around. We're rotating. And then I'm asking you to also keep them off the glass. It's not that easy, man. When you put 2 on Durant, the shot goes up, and Steven Adams and Thompson are crashing the glass. It's just everybody do as well as you can do with 100% effort, and it'll work out in the end. And that's kind of what this was.
David, I know you care first and foremost about winning the game, but was there ever a moment during that game where you said to yourself, "Wow, the skill level on the 2 starting centers"?
Yeah, it's the NBA is, I don't know, it's in such a good place right now. The skill set in some of these guys is outrageous. The way they can shoot it, pass it, handle it. Şengün and Nikola both, isoing at the nail. What Durant is and what he has been. It's just, he's a legendary player. So both these games we played them, I'd pay to watch this. Like these 2 teams are very even, and it comes down to a few plays here or there to see who wins the game, just like it was in Houston.
All right, there is Nuggets head coach David Adelman's post-game remarks after the Nuggets beat the Rockets in overtime. 128-125 is the final in just an awesome basketball game at Ball Arena. By the way, just got word from Nuggets PR. We will have Coach David Adelman on our show with DMAC, Scott Hastings, and Tyler Columbus on Altitude Sports Radio 92.5 at 12:30 tomorrow. So make sure to tune in for that. Nuggets head coach David Adelman will be joining us at 12:30 tomorrow. That'll be a fun conversation to have with Coach Adelman on this barn burner of a game at Ball Arena tonight. So just a couple of things that Coach said there. Really interesting. So, yeah, luckily for the Nuggets, they were only without both of their bigs for the last just under 2 minutes of the overtime. But man, you could tell Coach there was like, yeah, we got to probably, go through scenarios where if both of our bigs foul out, we need to have a little bit more of a game plan on what we need to do offensively, because I don't know who asked the question there in the press conference, but they're right. They did look like they were a little bit lost on what to do. It really just kind of turned into Jamal Murray isolation basketball, dribbling the air out of the ball until the shot clock went down, and turnaround jumpers. That was basically what the offense was once Nikola Jokic fouled out in the overtime, and they didn't have another big on the floor. So, hey, good learning lessons in that situation, because again, you just never know when situations like that where Val and Jokic foul out of a game is going to pop up again. So it's good for that to happen now in December, and they won the game anyways. So, like I said, luckily for them, it happened with very little time left to go in the overtime period. If this would have gone to double overtime, they might have been shit out of luck on that one, because you could tell the offense was kind of a little lost puppy out there without one of their big guys. The Nuggets offense is so, pardon my pun here, but centered around the center. And that's just what they run their offense through, is the center position. Even when Jonas Valanciunas is out on the floor, not Nikola, they're still really running the offense through the center position. So that is hopefully going to be a good learning lesson tonight. And just his thoughts on Spencer Jones there. He's been really impressive this season. He's had a couple of down games, but I think for the most part, for the fact that he's a two-way player on a two-way contract, he's been contributing this much. I mean, he started 10, 15 straight games since Aaron Gordon's been out. This guy's been a monster. Defensively, he was chasing around Durant and Şengün, and he's been phenomenal. I'm so happy for Spencer Jones. He's got, I believe, a 50-game marker before the Nuggets have to decide whether or not they want to sign him full-time to the 16-man NBA roster. And depending on where the health situation is at with the Nuggets at that point, it'll be a difficult decision, because he has certainly played like a capable NBA player during his time with the Nuggets. And what an opportunity for him. And boy, he's made the most of it. Hit a big three in the late in the fourth. He's been awesome. So happy for Spencer Jones. Awesome win for the Nuggets tonight. Again, 128-125 is your final in overtime at Ball Arena, and just what was an instant classic down there on Chopper Circle tonight between the Nuggets and the Rockets. So the Nuggets do improve to 19-6 on the season. I'm just pulling up the standings here in the NBA real quick. They are a game ahead of the Lakers, a game ahead of the Spurs, and now 2 games ahead of the Rockets, but they do have the tiebreaker. So even more important that they are now 2-0 against the Houston Rockets. The tiebreaker, you just never know. But those 2 through 6 seed really is very, very tight. The Nuggets are 4.5 back of the Thunder in the 2 seed. The Timberwolves in the 6 seed are 7 back. So there's 3.5 games that separate the 2 seed from the 6 seed in the West right now. So all of these games are very important. I mean, go figure. The Nuggets are off to their best start in franchise history. And, they're only up a game on the Lakers and Spurs, 2 games on the Rockets, and 2.5 on the Timberwolves, whatever it is. Yeah, 2.5 games on the Timberwolves. I think I said 3.5 earlier. 2.5 on the Timberwolves. Best start in franchise history. And they can't seem to get separation in the West, which is just so deep this year. But hey, they're racking up wins. They've got another 2 days off. Really good rest period here for the Nuggets before they go on a long 7-game road trip just after Christmas. And hopefully they can get Aaron Gordon and or Christian Brown back for that 7-game East Coast road trip. But that's going to do it for the post-game show tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday to react to Nuggets and Magic. We'll talk to you then on In the Paint right here on Altitude Sports Radio.